Be encouraged, my friends. Elon Musk, Joe Rogan, Russell Brand. We have voices out there that are speaking for us all the time, and they're talking to the independents. Elon Musk just posted this: Trudeau's trying to crush free speech in Canada. Shameful. Man, when Elon Musk comes after you with X, he's got the whole Twitter platform. Gary Greenwald, he's quoting Gary. The Canadian government, armed with one of the world's most repressive online censorship schemes, announces all online streaming services that offer podcasts must formally register with the government to permit regulatory control of what they say. Do you hear what I hear? They're coming after your freedom, friends. They're coming to shut you up. They're going to come after your bank accounts. They're going to come after you to lock you up. They're going to come after you with lawfare like they're doing to Trump, like they're doing with Bannon and these other guys. I'm fed up. Why don't you go to lancewallnau.com/stormproof. I got a personal financial advisor I work with, and I say there's trouble coming. I believe the Patriot move is going to come into a head-on collision with this narcissistic, evil oligarchy, but I believe it's going to have financial ramifications and instability while the system shakes. I want you to get your own plan for the coming storm. Go to lancewallnau.com/stormproof and stormproof your own financial status. I talk a lot here about gold. You hear us talk about silver. You'll also hear us talk about real estate. You're going to hear us talk about the right kind of stock when the stock market goes down. But the Stormproof PDF that you're going to be able to download comes with a one-on-one consultation with the people I talk to. You can actually discuss some of these things with them. lancewallnau.com/stormproof. Take action now. You will not regret it. Now let's get into this wild show. Welcome to the Lance Wallnau Show. I'm especially happy today to have this show. This is the Lance Wallnau Show. We're able to bring this to you on Real America's Voice, one of my favorite platforms. We're on different platforms, like with Daystar, and we have a podcast, lancewallnau.com/podcast. You can watch it every single day, but once a week, I prepare something special because I have such a great respect for the show here. And, I was a student for at least a year of watching the War Room Posse and being part of that before I participated, because I really do feel that Real America's Voice is a platform that has the power to mobilize movement. But the people that I'm particularly interested in are the Great Awakening crowd. That's the pro-life Catholics and the frustrated, maybe not even going to church evangelicals who are hungry for this awakening. They keep hearing about the fourth turning, the awakening. Well, it's here right now. It's happening. And we've got courageous leaders that are speaking. I want to encourage you right now to realize that there are voices that are rising up in so many different sectors. We have Jordan Peterson in Canada, who is having to undergo some form of disciplinary training on how to appropriately use social media, which is hilarious, considering who Jordan Peterson actually is. But he is being required in order to retain his psychiatric license, his license to practice psychotherapy, which I don't even think he needs anymore. I mean, he's his tours. He's speaking to large groups. He's got a couple of best-selling books with millions of sales. But, I mean, it's a shame that a man like this, who's esteemed as a psychotherapist, would have to have his license threatened because of the timidness of the institution of academia that's afraid of offending the totalitarian woke instincts of the gatekeeper elites, including Justin Trudeau, because Peterson wrote some critical tweets, evidently, and Trudeau, who he was accused of being a narcissist and a child, I think he struck back and says that Peterson needs to go to training. So like a Marxist, Peterson has to go to forced training on social media etiquette and protocol and how to communicate on social media. And the only just retaliation Peterson has is he says, okay, you're going to force me to submit to that? How about I televise it? He's promised he's going to televise his sessions where they're going to train him. I don't envy the job of that person who's the bureaucrat assigned to teach Jordan about how to word things so that they're less offensive, when Peterson is literally speaking the truth that is offensive. Mercedes Sparks, welcome to the show today. Glad to have you with me.
Happy to be here, Lance.
By the way, what does your shirt say? I can't tell.
Are you following Jesus?
Are you following? Oh my gosh, that's like a bad dad joke.
I like it. I'm taking it back. Not Halloween, but following.
I like that. Okay, well, the following, which is at the end of the month. That's right. The following.
It's coming up here.
Which is, by the way, October 31st is the same day as the day in which Martin Luther historically nailed the 95 Theses on the door of the Wittenberg Church in Germany. So, in fact, October 31st is Reformation Day. However, you will know it as Halloween. But let me move on from there because Canada's on my mind right now. I'm going to be in Canada, by the way, October 28th with another hero of truth, Arthur Pawlowski, that bold Christian pastor who's facing, like Cheon, he's facing jail, imprisonment, because when the truckers were striking, he went out into the cold and, like an old first century circuit rider or a Methodist circuit rider, he went out and preached the gospel and encouraged his fellow citizens to stand for truth and to stand by their democratic rights. For that, Trudeau shut them down, took away their funds. GoFundMe cooperated with them. All the money that was sent to support the bold truckers who are basically saying, you can't.
This portion is too hot to handle for social media. Go to lancewallnau.com/podcast to listen to the entire show.
What is it about speaking the truth that causes one to fall into a conflict with elites and power brokers? It's that in the spirit realm, you are challenging the authority of what they're doing and threatening their position. And so when you speak truth to power, you run the risk of power pushing back to destroy you. In organized crime worlds, they kill you. In South America and communist countries, they disappear you. And in the West, they make a martyr out of you. In the media, they bankrupt you in employment. They use the lawfare apparatus, those tools, because of an interesting phenomenon. And it's the populist phenomenon that existed in the first century. Why do they have to arrest Jesus at night? Why can't they do it during the day? For fear of the people, lest there be a riot among the people. This is right out of the Bible. Elites that are under the power of darkness are threatened by bold prophetic personalities and reformers who challenge them. When you challenge them, there's spiritual forces at work. They'll try to destroy you. But if there's an audience watching, they got to be careful how they destroy you. They can't just, they don't want to do it. They want to, so with Trump, they can't just lock him up and haul him away. They can't bulldoze his businesses. They can't freeze his bank account. They have to find some goofball lawyer and a DA and then spin the story so that people that don't like him think he's done something criminal. Well, like one saphead, scholarly, celebrated theologian said to me once, well, if Trump wasn't doing something wrong, how come he's always in so much trouble? I won't even tell you the guy's name. He's an anti-Trump preacher. Why is he always in trouble, Lance? Well, he's in trouble because the devil doesn't like him.
False accusation, right? Like we haven't seen that in Scripture. Disciples, Jesus, countless times is false accusation, false imprisonment. It's a script right out of the Bible.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to be on October 28th. I'm going to be in Canada with Arthur Pawlowski. I'm going to be at a church. We're going to have a day of courageous preaching in Canada. I don't get to Canada often. It says I'm there one day, October 28th, but I think I might be there.
No.
You sure I'm out there for more than one day?
It's one day. It's October 28th, and it's going to be from 10 in the morning to 9 p.m., and it's at a Christian college in Whitby, Ontario, because Canada is super large, so we'll narrow it in. Whitby, Ontario, and you can get the tickets at www.laura, L-A-U-R-A, Lynn, L-Y-N-N.tv. So you never go to Canada and they're bringing you in. So
I love Canada, man. Canadians are powerful. When we do Daystar, they're some of the most strongest responding people. I believe there's a move of God waiting in Canada because you're under the early form of Nero. You got your dictator right there with Trudeau. And I can't believe this guy stays in power. I can't believe that he's popular with the people because he's incompetent and he's evil and narcissistic. And those are some of his better attributes, according to Jordan Peterson. So, but I want to touch you for a second. We only have 2 minutes in this segment, but I want to say something here. One of my favorite characters regarding courage and outspokenness, clarity of mission, a true leader, is Saul of Tarsus, who was a terrorist, like working for Al-Qaeda in Jerusalem, destroying Christians and destroying the early followers of Jesus. He's met on the Damascus Road by a direct confrontation, one of those rare moments in history where Jesus confronts, boom, his opposition. And Paul is blinded. He hears the voice, "Who are you?" "I am Jesus, whom you're persecuting." And then he literally becomes a follower of Jesus. He becomes now what makes me so fascinated about this is this wasn't a Galilean fisherman. This was a well-educated, powerful debater who was almost like your total progressive, Marxist, radical leftist. Take the worst one you could think of and have them suddenly flip and suddenly go in the opposite direction. Actually, we see that happen now and then. It's kind of fascinating in a way. And that's Paul. And now he's no longer Saul, he's Paul. But what got my attention is how he addresses a king when he's on trial. He says, Paul stretches forth his hand, and he says, "I think myself happy, King Agrippa." This is Acts 26. "Because today I answer for myself before you concerning the things which I'm accused by the Jews, especially because you're an expert in all the customs and questions that have to do with the Jews. Therefore, I beg you to hear me patiently." And then he proceeds to discuss his case and tear apart his opposition. But the part that I want you to catch is this. He stretches forth his hand in the style of an orator and proceeds to properly address leadership. One of the things that I think is going to happen this year is we're going to learn how to make our case before the people that are persuadable. And we'll learn how to persuade people by the power of God's Spirit, because we're coming to the hour where truth and error are going to have a head-on collision, and the people will be weighing which side is right and which is wrong. And I believe that God is going to use the power of persuasion to transform America. Hey, let's take a moment right here and talk about something. You know, these programs are actually paid for by sponsors, and so the one thing that I always do is try to pick the sponsors that have the greatest value. Those are the ones that I myself believe in. Now, the Birch Gold Group is one of those key sponsors, and I'll tell you why. The economy is the area that I'm the most concerned about in terms of instability in the future. Do you know that right now, China and Russia and India is meeting with Saudi Arabians and South Africans to create an alternative economy, to basically crush the dollar? This is going to have a massive effect on the stock market, on real estate. It'll be a real shaking. But you don't have to be shaken, because there's a way you can protect your retirement, your 401ks, your IRAs, by connecting them in with gold. Gold is unique in history in that it's a place of stored value. In fact, those BRICS nations of Brazil and Russia, India and China, they're going to be backing themselves with, guess what? Gold. So be smart. I want you to go to lancewallnau.com/Birch and get a free information kit. Get knowledge, act quickly, don't wait. And they're going to be able to help you make a great decision on what to do. Remember, that information is free with no strings attached. Do it now, lancewallnau.com/Birch. This whole idea that love is an accommodation to other people's belief systems, rather than the challenging them to what the truth is about what they're believing and about the actual danger of what it is they're believing also being love. And that we've really screwed up this definition. We've confused civility and avoidance of conflict with Christian virtue. In reality, it could be cowardice rather than kindness. But Mercedes, I mean, you're always talking about this lately.
Well, and something the Lord's been talking to me about. Unfortunately, the church is using culture's definition of love, which is complete acceptance and tolerance. But I think the Lord knew that we would live in a day and an age where the definition of love would be redefined by culture. But the Bible is good enough to define for us agape love in 1 Corinthians 13. And this stood out to me, Lance, the other day. Part of that verse in 13:6 says, love does not rejoice with iniquity, but rejoices with the truth. And you think about, June, where we have, Pride Month, and it's a celebration. I mean, literally, you think rejoice, like let's celebrate sin. And it's like, no, love does not rejoice with iniquity. It's love to tell someone in a patient, kind, understanding manner, no, that's sin. That doesn't honor God. I could love you as a person and speak truth to you, but I'm not going to rejoice in this. I'm not going to hold it. It rejoices with truth. Right here, this should give us license to love people, but speak truth boldly.
This portion is too hot to handle for social media. Go to lancewallnau.com/podcast to listen to the entire show.
Folks, this is the fight we want. We need to take this battle on. I want you guys to go to lancewallnau.com/podcast. Every chance you get, every day of the week, we do a 25-minute prescient prophetic analysis of current events so that we could talk about what's happening, what you need to know, and the story behind the story. lancewallnau.com/podcast. I look forward to seeing you again next week.
Did you enjoy this latest episode? Please remember to share it with your friends, because the more knowledge you have, the better equipped you are to navigate the world.